single flame can light a million more.
Take 3. Last 2 takes, the heater's popped on or something's popped on and made noise, and the dog had to get up and scratch his butt and made noise. Alright, let's do this thing. Mr. R, here's your messenger. This is the quickest and easiest repair I've had to do probably in 3 months. Mr. R calls me up and says, "Man, BBI, I'm having problems." I said, "Oh yeah, buddy, tell me all about your problems. Let's see what I can fix with your problems with my knowledge in my ears, between my ears." And he goes, "Man, I got this messenger. It's in pretty good shape." He goes, "I can't get it to do more than 200 watts. And I said, "Roll." So what's going on? And he goes, "Well, I don't have no burned up parts, but I don't care how hard I drive it, I can't get it to do more than 200 watts. I said, "Send the child to me. Give me the problem child, and we'll fix it." Now, normally what happens with these messengers is they'll fall out of alignment over the years. Because it's driving down the road, and it's sitting there vibrating along, and it's jiggling, and it's shaking as it's mounted in a mobile. And these little Arco trimmers move, and they'll fall out of alignment. He said 2 things were happening. He had a really high input SWR, and 2, the output wattage was in the toilet. I said, "Send it to me." So I got it up here, and I did a quick realign on this thing. This has got the SRF 2072s in it, which is a real good viable replacement for the 1446 small case Motorola and the 454 small case Motorola. So this thing will probably never do more than about 650, maybe 700 watts. Period. And that's with you driving it a little bit hard. While I was here, I made a couple small observations to things. The fuse holder, when I look at it underneath the FLIR, the little fuse holder was getting up to 200 degrees just with me aligning it. So there's something going on inside that fuse holder. It looks like it's been cracked and broke, and it's not making good connection here. So I just suggested we bypass it and have him put a fuse at the battery, which would be the appropriate place to put it, not at the amplifier. But he says, "Okay, not a problem." So we bypassed the fuse, got her all aligned, and you'll never guess what it does now. Oh, I took that screen off because the screen was hitting your fan and was making this thing make this nice. Well, that screen was all plugged up with crap. So I went ahead and I washed your fan, cleaned the cabinet, cleaned out the heatsink since we had it all apart, and I put a new fan guard on it. That's it. Pretty straightforward. Alignment, bypass fuse holder, fan guard. Whoopee. Alright, so 1000 watt slug on PEP, 1000 watt slug on bird average, 5 watt slug in reverse from the 10,000 watt dummy load, 5 watt slug set between amplifier in reverse going to the RCI 2950. 2950 is getting a lot of use here lately. Let's set this puppy up on top of this case. Quit making everybody seasick. Slide this out a little bit. Okay. Peak, Av, reflect. So let's show you some drive. Now remember when this thing came in, it wouldn't do 200 watts, right? Oh, gotta grab the right microphone there, Luke. You can tell I've been out here all day long talking to these damn cameras. Oh. Hello, audio. Hello, audio. So we're on 14 volts, boys and girls. And this is what it does with 20 watts of drive. Hello, audio. and oh, got down. It's going to do a little bit more than 200 watts now. That average meter, hello, we're seeing about 300 average. And over here on the peak meter, we'll zoom in on that old girl right here. Just think about all the millions of watts that have gotten through this thing over the days. That's my original bird meter from all the way back when I was at the other house and in the other shop. Hello. Now that's on high. Move her down to low. Hello. About 550 watts. This should do about 6. Hello. About 6. And then on high. Hello. Audio. About 680, 700 watts. Now, all that aside, he tells me he's got his dead key at about 1.5 watts. Well, I want to show you how much I've got for a dead carrier. I'm going to shut the amp off. And so this is me actually transmitting right now. Check this out. It's a 5-watt slug, so we're going to turn that around and make it so it reads forward. 0.5 watt carrier. I'm going to scooch it up to a whole watt. And I want you to see how much you're going to be throwing for a dead carrier now. Amps on high with a whole watt dead key. Check this out. Hello. See how the average meter's falling back? You don't want that. Hello, audio. You're going to want to back your dead key down a little bit. 1.5 watts is going to overdrive this box, Mr. R. Now we can adjust that by putting it down on low. Hello, audio. You're not going to get that massive peak power out of it like you would if it was up on high. Hello, audio. So let's go back over here and let's just simulate your situation. Take our 5-watt slug, flip it to its reading forward. Take our dead key, route up to 1.5 watts. Turn the amplifier back on, turn the bird slug back around, put the amplifier on high with a 1.5 watt dead key. Way too high. It's a 380 watt, almost 400 watt carrier. Put the amp on medium. Now that's almost acceptable with a 1.5 watt dead key. Hello, audio. We put it on low. Hello, audio. You're cutting about 200 watts or 150 watts out of your top end. But this radio dead key's about 0.5 watt and it swings to about 30. So if you're radioing your dueling, Mr. R, if you can get the dead key down to 1 watt and you can run it on medium. If you want to run it on high, that's the reason that everybody says you sound like you're on sideband, is because you're driving the holy bejesus out of this box. You got to remember, this amplifier came out in that beautiful time in the 80s when there was still this veiled semblance of, well, Law and Order and the Wild Wild West of 11 meter or 10 meter bands, where the radios weren't allowed to do more than 5 watts. So the architectural engineers, the guys that created this little wonderful creation down there in the great state of California, never planned on having the amp bit driven more than about 5 or 6 watts. You got to bring that dead key down to just a hair underneath 1 watt to get the really heavy swing out of it. Otherwise, you're going to be jamming too much into it. So until you get your dead key adjusted, Mr. R, I really strongly suggest you run this thing on medium or low. But really all you're doing by doing that is putting a ton of pressure on these resistors up here in the front. See them bad boys? There's your low, it's your medium, that's your high resistor. These are what knock down your input signal that come through this little trace. It comes through this trace, goes through this coax, goes through this board, pops out, and it always goes through these two resistors to make the input tune at 50 ohms. These also act as attenuators. Not very much. These are more or less for impedance balancing, but these are your actual attenuators. At a 1.5 watt dead key, you're going to be putting a ton of heat on these resistors. They're going to be getting hot. Remember, this is on the closed side of the cabinet that doesn't have any airflow. When these show up 9 times out of 10, I've got to replace these resistors because they are scorched, burnt, fried, mother burnt down of pearl earth. Mr. R, pick down your dead key. That's it. That's all she wrote. Cleaned up fan, aligned the box, and it's running great now. Obviously, with almost 700 watts peak, with these 8 little 50 watt RMS transistors. It is what it is, 300 bird. Gentlemen, my name is BBI. Without a shadow of a doubt, I am the biggest mud duck in Idaho. Come check us out at www.facebook.com or www.bbiamps.com. Come find me on facebook.com, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, and of course right here on YouTube. Gentlemen, and I can't say this without enough sincerity in my heart, I seriously don't get to be here without all of you guys.